In today's video, we're going to talk about the shocking discovery that the moon was given to the Earth millions of years ago by an ancient alien race known as the Anunnaki. But before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more videos like this. Also, stick around until the end, where I reveal my own personal thoughts about the moon and where I think it really came from. The Anunnaki were an ancient race of shape-shifting reptilian humanoids who came from a planet called Nibiru in the Zeta Reticuli star system. The Anunnaki are said to have arrived on Earth over 200,000 years ago, and they began to genetically engineer humans to serve as their slaves. The Anunnaki had a very advanced technology, which they used to mine gold on Earth. They also created cities and taught humans how to farm and make tools. However, humans eventually rebelled against the Anunnaki and drove them off of the planet. Now, there are many people who believe that the Anunnaki are still out there somewhere, and they are just waiting for another chance to come back to Earth. Some people even believe that the Anunnaki are behind some of the strange and unexplainable phenomena that have been occurring on Earth lately. For example, the Anunnaki could be responsible for the recent increase in UFO sightings, or even the strange lights and objects that have been appearing in the night sky. Only time will tell if these theories are true or not. But one thing is for sure, the Anunnaki are a fascinating subject that has captured the attention of many people around the world. Lately, I've been doing a lot of research on the Anunnaki, and what I found is truly amazing. One of the things that I found is that the moon was actually given to the Earth by an Anunnaki female scientist whose name was Luna. In the past, the moon wasn't always there, and the nights were very dark. This made it difficult for humans to do things like hunt or travel. Plus, the Earth's axis was very unstable, and the climate was constantly changing. This made it hard for humans to survive. When the Anunnaki first arrived on Earth, they saw that humans were struggling, and they decided to help them by giving them a moon. The Anunnaki knew that having a moon would make it easier for humans to survive on Earth. It would provide them with light at night, and it would also help to stabilize the Earth's axis. This would make the climate more stable, and it would make it easier for humans to grow crops and raise animals. So the Anunnaki went ahead and created the moon. They placed it in the sky, and then they stood back to watch as humans reacted. At first, humans were scared of the moon. They didn't know what it was or where it came from. But over time, they got used to it, and they began to rely on it. The moon became a part of human life, and it helped humans to thrive on Earth. If the moon hadn't been given to Earth, things would have been very different for humans. We wouldn't be able to survive on Earth as we do now. The moon is a vital part of our planet, and we are lucky to have it. The moon is the fourth largest in the solar system, but it's huge in comparison to Earth. In fact, the moon is so big that if it were any bigger, it would have been considered a planet instead of a moon. The moon is also incredibly close to Earth, which makes it appear even larger than it already is. In fact, the moon is so close to Earth that it's actually visible from almost anywhere on the planet. If the moon were any closer, it would be considered a dwarf planet instead of a moon. The moon is also incredibly bright, which makes it stand out in the night sky. In fact, the moon is the brightest object in the night sky other than the sun and the stars. This is because the moon reflects light from the sun, which makes it appear to glow. If the moon were any brighter, it would be considered a planet instead of a moon. The moon is also incredibly influential, which is why it's often referred to as the moon. The moon has a gravitational pull that affects the tides on Earth. This means that the moon can cause the oceans to rise and fall, depending on where it is in the sky. The moon also affects the weather on Earth. This is because the moon's gravitational pull causes winds to blow in certain directions. These winds can cause rain, snow, or other forms of precipitation. The moon also affects the growth of plants and animals. This is because the moon's gravitational pull affects the amount of water that plants and animals need to survive. The moon also affects human behavior. This is because the moon's gravitational pull affects our sleep cycles and hormones. All of these things show just how powerful the moon is. It may seem like a small and insignificant body in the sky, but it actually has a profound impact on our planet and our lives. The moon is more than just a pretty face in the sky. It's a powerful force that shapes our world. As I mentioned earlier, the moon didn't always exist, and the ancients knew this. This is why many ancient cultures have stories and myths about the moon. They knew that the moon was special, and they wanted to understand its power. The ancient Greeks, for example, believed that the moon was a goddess. They named her Selene, and they said that she drove a chariot across the sky every night. The ancient Romans also had a goddess of the moon. They named her Diana, and they said that she was the protector of women and children. The ancient Egyptians believed that the moon was a god. They named him Khonsu, and they said that he was the god of healing. The ancient Sumerians, however, had a different belief about the moon. They didn't believe that the moon was a god or a goddess. They believed that the moon was a physical object that was placed in the sky by the Anunnaki. The Sumerians were an ancient civilization that lived in Mesopotamia, which is now Iraq, Kuwait, and Turkey. They were one of the earliest civilizations in the world, and they had a rich culture and history. The Sumerians kept records of their history on clay tablets, and these tablets have provided us with a wealth of information about their beliefs and way of life. One of the things that the Sumerians believed was that the moon was a physical object that was placed in the sky by the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki were a race of extraterrestrials that the Sumerians believed came from a planet called Nibiru. The Sumerians believed that the Anunnaki were very advanced technologically, and that they had come to Earth to mine gold. The Sumerians also believed that the Anunnaki created humans as slaves to help them mine gold. The Sumerians believed that the Anunnaki placed the moon in the sky to help control the tides on Earth. They also believed that the moon was used as a calendar to help humans keep track of time. The Sumerians were very superstitious, and they believed that the moon had a lot of power over humans. They believed that the moon could affect the weather, the growth of crops, and even the behavior of animals. The Sumerians also believed that the moon was a source of magic, and that it could be used to cast spells and make potions. So what does all of this mean? Well, it means that the Sumerians didn't believe that the moon was a goddess or a god. Instead, they believed that it was a physical object that was placed in the sky by an extraterrestrial race known as the Anunnaki. The Sumerians also believed that the moon had a lot of power over humans, and that it could affect everything from the weather to the growth of crops to animal behavior. This is where the hollow moon theory comes into play. The theory states that the moon is actually hollow, and that it is possible that the Anunnaki created the moon using advanced technology. This technology may have been used to hollow out the moon, and then fill it with something like gold or other precious metals. There may have been an entrance to the moon that the Anunnaki used to access the interior. This entrance may have been hidden using advanced technology, such as invisibility or camouflage. Or it's possible that the entrance no longer exists. If you ask me, I believe that the moon is real. I believe that it's a physical object that's around 760 million miles away from Earth. And I believe that it has a mass of 7.342 times 10 raised to the 22nd power kilograms. I also believe that the moon is slightly bigger than it appears from Earth, and that it is around 2,159 miles in diameter. Finally, I believe that the moon is mostly made up of rock and dust, and that it is completely solid. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? Do you believe that the moon is real? Or is it just a big space rock that is not really doing anything? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, then be sure to check out the next one. Thanks for watching.